Okay, so this part of the video is going to show you how to add the features of this cap so that we have, the little button here, and it's got to have something to rotate around. You'll see that little black nub in there, and then the handle itself. Okay, so the way we're going to do that is you'll see here in this what I call the answer key. Actually, let me hide these things. So you'll see I have this little black feature here. What's going on there is we have a sketch out on this plane, but the sketch, you want it to be exactly out on the outside of the cylinder, and you want it to be in the middle of that surface of the cap. So to achieve that, rather than creating a plane rather than creating a plane at an offset distance, I'd rather use a feature script that's called tangent plane. And the advantage of tangent plane is if this size of this cap changes, then that plane that you put out there will also change with it. As opposed to the way you probably know, let me show you in our starter file what we've been working on here. Let me turn this section view off. What you've often done in the past is you might just click on plane and then say offset, and then you put in half the diameter of this cap. But then if the diameter of the cap changes, this plane does not change with it, and that can cause problems down the road. So what you're going to learn to do here is to add a feature script, which is basically just, some user of Onshape created a tool that they thought was useful that Onshape hasn't created yet. So you're going to want to go to add custom features, and you're going to filter just feature studios, which just means it's one of these feature scripts that somebody made, and type in tangent plane. And then you'll see it's right here. I also will have, actually, I believe this one. I will link this in the assignment, but I believe it's this one. Or maybe I already will put it in your starter file. But know that it's that one. And so now what you're going to want to do is come to your feature scripts and find the one that's called T-plane. And now if you click this, the face to apply the plane to, I want it out on here. Reference point. See if we have a point that we can use, and that's just to say where on this surface do you want it. And let's look again at how we did it in our answer key, and we just use the right plane to say make it parallel to the right plane, or no, I guess it's perpendicular to right plane. And you'll see that this new plane was created exactly right where the right plane that I referenced intersects this cylinder. All right, and the size is just the size of the plane, but that really doesn't matter, so I'm going to green check that for now. Okay, so now I can draw the equivalent of that circle, which is just the little protrusion that your handle is going to rotate around. So I'm going to say sketch. And my sketch plane is going to be this one that was created by the tangent plane. And I'm going to just draw a circle here in the middle of this sketch. But as you can see, we don't know that it's in the middle. So I'm going to say use this curve. And what the use tool does is it brought this line and this line out to that sketch plane. And the reason I want to do that is to make sure that it's in the middle of that portion of that sketch. I'm going to create a construction line from the middle of that line down to the middle of that line. And now, hopefully you can imagine, I'm going to place the middle of the center of the circle on the midpoint of that line. So if I pick the center of the circle as a point and then the line, it's going to automatically put that center in the center of that line. Now, the only thing left to do is know what diameter that cap is going to be. And let's look that up. What is the diameter of that? 0.25. So we'll just dimension this as 0.25. And now that is done, and we can say extrude. Now here is the trick. you're going to want to extrude in 2 different directions because, actually, let me just do it in one direction, then you'll see why. The first direction we only want to go, whoops, we'll leave it at blind, which just means the distance that we're going to type in. And yes, we want it to come out. And it's not going to even let us do this because, I'll show you why. It's, let me show you a top-down view. That will make it clear. You can see that this circle that we drew is going to touch the cylinder at one specific line. And as you've learned, CAD programs don't like to have point contacts like that. So instead, what we're going to do is say extrude in 2 directions. So the first one we'll leave as 0.1, and then the second direction, right here, second end position, rather than saying blind and just typing in a distance, I'm going to say up to face. And now if I zoom out, I'm going to select the cylinder, that cylinder surface, and it will extrude in both directions. And let me show you a top-down view again. And you can see this is the direction that's going blind of distance of 0.1, and here it's filling in that gap between the cap and that little circle. And so now if I green check, everything should work out, and it's actually added to the cap, which is fine. I actually want this to be part of the cap. All right. The second circle is pretty simple because now we can just draw this circle on top of that sketch plane or that surface. So now we're just going to say center point circle. Make sure you catch the center of that circle. And let me draw it normal just to get in good habits. And I don't remember the size of this one, so let's go back to our answer key. And this was 625, so 5/8. All right, and now if you look at a hydroflask, this is actually a different material. So when we extrude it, we have our circle out there. I'm going to extrude it as a new part. And I don't want it to be hollow inside, so I'm going to pick both cylinders, or both circles. And the thickness of that is going to be 0.1. And we do want it coming out the direction that it's showing right now. And I think I forgot to say new, so we'll switch that to new. And there we go. Now, obviously we don't want it to be blue. Hydroflasks are typically a silver color. So, let's right click on this and say add appearance. And I don't know, let's make it look silver. All right. So that's how you create this part of the hydroflask using the new tangent plane feature script. So I hope you see the advantage of that. I could show you if we change the thickness of this cap, this part of it will in fact move with it.